Alright, and chickens come running. I wanted to take some time to, and look, little kitty, we got a little kitten stray. So I wanted to take some time today to talk a little bit about my chicken coop. Did the chicken coop last year. Right now it's the end of July, basically August. Tomorrow's August 1st, 2019. Last year I did this chicken coop based largely off of SSL Family Dad's kind of designs. I'll put a link to his stuff that he had going on. But you know, a lot of people were doing videos, chicken coops. Pretty much almost all of them were first-time chicken owners, setting up their coops and getting their chickens in it. And SSL Family Dad was one of the few that were doing follow-up videos, following the progress and making changes, you know, identified as he wanted to make changes to his coop, things he recognized. Hey girls. Things he recognized that were going on that he wanted to change. But I just kind of wanted to show you, give you an update on what my experience has been, things I've done, things that I did differently than SSL Family Dad. Fleming had another good video up too, and I appreciated his comments and what he was saying. But the lighting's bad for this angle, so let me come over here and show you the back. So I live on a very small property, and I am very urban. I am central Ohio, I'm the heart of Columbus basically, and my property is very small. But I wanted to take a minute and show you what's going on. So the basis of the scoop is it's pretty compact, it's pretty small. This is the main back here. So one of the key things that I changed, that I added, that, you know, that was a little different from SSL Family Dad. So I added this double door system that has windows to get good airflow to come in. But I also did deep litter. And my kids overfilled the thing last time, but it's still pretty fresh. But I need to make a change here to these roosting bars. But this drop down door here, this folds down to give access to clean out all the deep litter and everything. But these roosting bars that I added up here, that's a heater in the back, by the way. That last winter we had was pretty brutal. We were sub-zero for quite some time, a couple weeks, and it was pretty hard, so I had that heater put in. Well, I put in the heater, but I got it because it was going to be so cold. But these roosting bars up here, they're a little high. This back one in the back is fine. It runs the whole length of the coop back, or the width of the coop back there. And then I've got these two runs that come up, you know, and the chickens can hop up here on this little perch, and then they can get up in there. And I just need to lower it down. Reason being, they have enough room, but I just don't feel like they have enough headroom right here to completely stand up. So back there they can completely stand up, stretch out. You know, chickens often like to get up on one leg, stretch one out, spread their wing out, and you know, when they're perched all night, especially when it's hot, they need to get a little bit of space. And then of course when it's cold, they huddle up together, but I still want to give them the freedom of the movement. So that was just one of the things that I want to do differently, and you know, appreciate any comments on anybody else with any other ideas that they might have. Got a girl in the back laying an egg. But this comes into a run. So this coop opens up into a run, and the run is an 8 foot by 8 foot run space. It's the maximum that you're allowed in the city of Columbus to have. It's the largest size. I'm also at the limit to what the city will allow me to have as well, which is 8 birds. I originally was going to have 4 because that's what the local code and ordinance said that I could have. I had planned on doing a coop back in 2016. It's when I wanted to start, but I just didn't have the material. Most of this material came free, with the exception of the roofing, and some of the other stuff. So it wasn't super expensive, but I tell you, building something like this, if you had to buy the material, I mean, I think you'd be easily, the same equivalent kind of coop, I think you'd easily be into, you know, several $100s, if not maybe close to $1,000 by the time it's all said and done. But, so they go into this run. I leave that coop door open all year long. So this little coop door right here, this is on the southeast side. We predominantly get winds from the northwest in the wintertime. And I did this orientation on purpose because I wanted to make sure that the prevailing winds coming from the northwest aren't going to blow in here and create a draft. So this actually stays open during the winter. The only time that I close this is when it get into those sub-zero temperatures. And I would close that off. And I would open it up every day to let the girls out. Food I don't keep in the coop at all. I don't keep water in the coop at all. They come out here into the run. But they have a large run. So they have access to get out here and pretty much get into whatever they want. Built that little waterer over there in the corner. It uses horizontal nipples instead of the vertical ones. And it works surprisingly well. I drop a bird bath heater into it through the top. There's a hole. I've got the plug over there. I drop that down in there. In that sub-zero temperatures we had, that thing stayed thawed out all winter long. Didn't freeze up a single bit. All the nipples worked. It was fantastic. So that was a good surprise. I was really expecting to have some real serious water issues. I did have your typical water out here that I did change on a pretty regular basis. But it was nice knowing that this watering tower here did not freeze. And I don't know how much it holds. I've never measured it. But I'd have to guess that it holds 4 gallons of water, possibly more. I'm not sure. But just another view of the run area here with the girls. The feeder hangs down in the middle. You know, that feeder will last them a little over 2 days. So I'm probably getting blurry here because of the screen. Probably not showing very well. This vertical thing I made off of stuff I saw on YouTube, it's pretty much garbage. I'm not real happy with it. It just clogs up at the bottom and the girls can't get access to the feed very easily. So that's something that's going to change. I'm going to part it out and go with something that is more open on the bottom, more like a shepherd crook. Or, you know, it's going to just go down into a J or an L. And then have open access. More SSL Family Dad did some similar feeder to the concept I'm going to do. I'm going to make some changes to it though, based on that. But I added this laying box because one of the girls went broody in the early spring, and she was occupying one of the nesting boxes inside. It took me a good while to break her, so I added this because the girls were getting angry with each other, not being able to have a spot to lay, because they were all wanting to lay. So I changed that. I brought the food in here in these buckets, and I keep their feed. The top one is scratch that I give them occasionally, and the bottom one is their feed. And I didn't want to have them jumping up and pooping on it, so I just made this little shelf. I thought it would be a spot for them to hang out in and sit. And they do actually get up there quite often and hang out. And then I added that little nest. Oh, look at you. Getting all bossy. But that's kind of the breakdown of this area. But, you know, SSL Family Dad, he had his coming out a 4x8. I added this other 4x8 section to make it an 8x8. It is pretty modular. I can take it apart. It's not one 8x8 system. It's 2 4x8 systems put together. So I can move it around if need be. But it just stays permanent here for right now. Going back to the coop, another change that I made. Obviously, this has got storage down here where I've got some things. I've got some grit and everything that's accessible. Light switch operates the light right there, and the bug zapper. Just took the bulb out of the light because there was no need to have it in there. But this is some good storage. just to put some stuff down here to have quick and easy access to. I'm going to surprise a girl here with my laying box. Nope, she's gone, which is great. I'm going through this straw bedding right now because I had it, but I don't like it. It actually gets on the eggs too easily, and I'm just not pleased with it. But you know, a lot of people are doing the top open, where this would open up to get access to the eggs. I didn't want to have to deal with any water issues or anything, and this is hodgepodge, folks. I am not a roofing person. This is all scrap material. You can see it doesn't match. I didn't have, this piece wasn't big enough to cover all the way to the back. And this top piece, this piece wasn't big enough to cover all the way from the back to the front. So I just kind of hodgepodge some stuff together here to give access. But oh, I know. I'm going to close it up in a second, honey. But I added this here. This is removable. This board is just a blocker to keep them from knocking their bedding out. But I wanted to have this door access from the side. I felt it was less intrusive on the girls if they were going to be in there, but at the same time, easy to access. And certainly it seems a lot easier than the top hinge approach that a lot of people take. Certainly was easier to make. It was certainly easier to waterproof. So I think that's something that people should consider when they talk about building their chicken coops. Big topic is ventilation. You know, I've got the big window here on the side. I've got a fairly big window up here at the top to allow the ventilation to come out. And then of course back on the front or the back, whichever way you want to look at it, I've got the full access that has large windows. And these are panels that I made that pop in here, and they just lock in. They just lock in through these twisties. Probably grab one of these panels and show you. But it's very similar to this one right here, actually. So I'll just take this little one. I'll just take this little one right here and show you what I got. But looks like we've warped over time, so she doesn't want to close up. I'll have to change that. But this thing right here is pretty similar to the ones that are on the front. I can pop it out. So this panel comes in and out. And I added plexiglass to give them some light. And I think that helps out even in the winter time. I didn't have any problem with my girls laying this winter. Of course, this is only my first year with chickens. But I didn't have any issues with them laying at all. They laid really well all winter long, which was nice. So that was a good change. This is my composting system, so it makes it real easy for me to just take the material that comes straight out of the coop, put it straight over here into the compost, and deal with it over here. So this is a breakdown, real rough look at what I've done so far, and a little bit about my experience. Underneath this is just a big dust bath area for the girls. So just a big dust bath. One of the requirements from the city, you know, to get a chicken permit. You can see down here I've got these concrete tiles. These concrete tiles it was required that it had to be they used the word impervious. An impervious flooring. I hear you. Which I think is a terrible word, because impervious, nothing is impervious, but their meaning was that would not allow water to run down into the ground soil very easily. But he recommended I use horse stall mats or these tiles or anything of the like. So I just put these tiles down, and they run the whole they run the whole area of the run and underneath the coop. I would have preferred not to use them, especially in the dust bath area. The girls ended up coming out here and using the dust bath over here in the shady corner a lot. The sun gets over in here, but along this section they get over and they get in that dust bath quite a bit. But the SSL Family Dad coop design, I did really like it initially because of its compact size. seem to be pretty mobile, although I tell you, this thing is really heavy. Oh, another thing I changed is, you know, he put the feeding system underneath here. I didn't want to have to deal with that kind of hassle, but I did add this little door, so it's easy to get in there and clean out, add new material, put the diatomaceous earth and sand and dirt, and put that up in there. But this is a rough intro and breakdown of what I did differently in my experience after having chickens for a year, and what we got going on. And as I said, I am about as urban as you can get without being in a high-rise apartment downtown. But I am in the heart of Columbus, and I just have a small little yard that I'm making do with. So as more time and money becomes available, I'll be making more changes, and maybe I'll do some updates here on YouTube, talk about what's going on, what's different. But this was a good project for my boys to be involved in, which is one of the reasons why the paint job wasn't completed, but that's okay. We're going to get on that here soon. When the weather cools off a little bit, we'll get on that and take it apart, tighten up things that need tightened, work on things like this not lining up so it latches very easy, and we'll get it fully painted out and taken care of and good to go. So that was just my little update. Let me know your comments, your thoughts. I'll talk to you guys soon, maybe. We'll see.